it's me again. I'm going to continue reading from my book, The 1910s. Let's go! The United States exerts its influence. The U.S. Marines in Haiti. Alan R. Millet said the United States joined the ranks of world powers with an overwhelming victory in the Spanish-American War. The nation had taken other steps to gain influence around the globe. A stronger navy had been constructed. The Panama Canal had been dug. Politicians rose to prominence who believed that the nation's rightful place lay at the forefront of nations. One of the important ways of gaining influence was the use of the military to both exert authority over unstable governments and to protect America's interests in different nations. One location illustrating this phenomenon was Haiti, a republic situated on the Caribbean island of Hispaniola. Haiti was considered of strategic importance to the United States because of its proximity to the Panama Canal. Esteemed military historian Alan R. Millet, the author of numerous books and articles on American military forces, describes the events on Hispaniola and the role played by the United States Marines in taming the dissident elements that threatened Haitian security. American interest in Hispaniola dated back to the early 19th century, but the United States government took a more active interest in Haiti and the Dominican Republic after the war with Spain and the creation of the Canal Zone. The forces that shaped American policy were complex. Initially, the Roosevelt and Taft administrations were most concerned with the traditional task of protecting American lives and property, but as the State and Navy departments practiced gunboat diplomacy, they became increasingly concerned with strategic and economic concerns. Navy planners recognized the utility of naval bases at Mont St. Nicholas on Haiti's north coast and the Dominican Republic's Samana Bay. Naval forces operating from either could control the windward and Mona passages into the Caribbean Sea and access to the Panama Canal. The possibility that either France or Germany might attempt to establish bases was tied to the question of foreign loans. These European nations had already demonstrated that they might collect their debts with naval gunfire and might conceivably extend their influence into the internal management of weak-line republics, so the American government might preempt European intervention with intervention of its own. Where the policy was described as a Roosevelt corollary to the Monroe Doctrine, preemptive intervention or dollar diplomacy. The purpose was the same: to deter European intervention in American sphere of interest and to protect foreign investment in both the investors and host economic interests. The United States would protect Haiti and the Dominican Republic. This policy was applied to both countries between 1905 and 1913 as Navy warships and embarked Marines hovered offshore to protect foreigners and support American negotiators. Dollar diplomacy. The policy was developed most completely first in the Dominican Republic. At the request of a provisional president, the State Department between 1905 and 1907 worked out a set of agreements that gave the United States control of the Dominican Customs Service. Under American management, the revenues would go to foreign bondholders and claimants and to the incumbent regime. To assist the Dominican government, the State Department also helped negotiate a new $20 million loan in the United States. Although this agreement angered many Dominicans and failed to curb civil war, it pacified the foreign creditors and their governments. It also committed the United States to protecting Dominican sovereignty and made the United States and Dominican and European eyes a decisive actor in Dominican domestic politics. The State Department took a similar approach in 1910 when the Haitian government began new loans negotiations with French and German agents. Although there were few American investments in Haiti, the State Department objected to a plan to reorganize the National Bank of Haiti and to finance new foreign bond issue without American participation. After intrigue that involved the Mulata elite, European businessmen in Haiti, and a few American entrepreneurs, the State Department allowed American and European financiers to reorganize the National Bank and the railways with increased American interest and further loans. However, would not accept responsibility for another customs receivership, a proposal even more unattractive to the Haitian government. But the concept of American involvement in managing Haiti's finances was still alive in 1913. While the State Department was exploring the possibility of managing Haiti's finances, it was learning about the drawbacks of such responsibilities in the Dominican Republic. After the assassination of another president in late 1911, the Dominican politicos again went to war to decide upon a successor. Sporadic fighting dragged on into 1913, with no single faction able to consolidate its power. American naval officers and legislation officials negotiated truces and urged compromise, while the State Department wondered whether it would have to defend the customs houses with Marines. The American role in damaging the rebellion consisted mostly in pouring money on the fires of insurgency, since the Dominican government could neither pay its bills nor borrow money without American approval. The State Department was able to influence the selection of a new provisional president and negotiate for greater control of Dominican fiscal policy. Early in 1913, the National City Bank of New York loaned the Dominican government $1.5 million to pay its ragtag army and accommodate its opponents. The Wilson Plan. Into the diplomatic quagmire stepped President Woodrow Wilson. Convinced that American foreign policy was the instrument of greedy capitalists, Wilson promised that foreign-owned banks and railroads would no longer exploit either the State Department or Hispaniola. The United States would refuse to deal with governments that took power through violence or other unconstitutional means. Instead, it would negotiate the end of civil wars, the establishment of acceptable provisional governments, and free elections under American supervision if necessary. The United States might also reorganize the island's armed forces in order to bolster the legitimate government against rebels. As the president told a visitor, "I'm going to teach the South American republics to elect good men." The substance of the Wilson Plan was communicated to the governments of Haiti and the Dominican Republic during 1913. The nation of Hispaniola ignored the sermon from Washington and continued to change governments with dispatch and bloodshed. In the Dominican Republic, civil war simmered on until an American supervised election produced a new president. The agent called the little Juan Isidro Jimenez in 1914. Jimenez immediately complained that the customs receivership was not providing him with enough money to buy off his enemies or to prevent his followers from joining a new coalition of oppositionists. The situation was no more promising in Haiti. From 1913 to 1915, the Haitians rotated presidents through civil war and conspiracy. Whoever was president now bore the traditional burden of being tagged a tool of foreign imperialism, as the State Department continued to urge an American-managed financial protectorate. In 1914 and 1915, the State Department offered to protect incumbent President with Marines as they asked, and the Haitian Congress would accept a treaty like the one in effect with the Dominican Republic. Before the negotiations could progress, rebels led by General Vilbrun Guillaume, I think that's how you say it, Sam occupied Port-au-Prince with a Cacao army and sent the elite politicians scurrying. In the meantime, the State Department concluded that French and German financiers were subsidizing the rebels in order to curb American economic penetration. Some Americans, like Secretary of State Robert Lansing, were convinced that the Europeans were seriously interested in the Mole St. Nicholas naval base. The Sound government, however, would not negotiate either the Mole St. Nicholas issue or the question of making the National Bank of Haiti a completely American-managed institution. The government would accept American troops on a temporary basis to restore order, but would not accept long-term foreign intervention. Hey y'all. Okay, so that's it for now. Please rate, comment, and subscribe down below. And if you're on YouTube, please ring that bell notification so you can know when I upload next. And if you're on TikTok, please like and follow my videos. And please pay for something on either my eBay and my card. And on YouTube, let's get to 50 subscribers. And on TikTok, let's get to at least 40 followers, so that I could do something special for you guys, okay? So, please do that. Thank you. Have fun. And by the way, happy Monday.